This was my experience online dating, talking to a guy. He seemed really nice. He was cute. And, you know, we had our photographs online and we all put up, you know, our best photos. And I think one of my photos, there must have been like some cleavage or something in it, you know. Anyway, went to meet him for a drink. And he said, took out his phone. He said, oh, let me show you photos of my kids. And he opened his phone in front of me. Don't ever do that. And the first photo on his phone was my boobs, my cleavage. Like he had zoomed in and saved my cleavage. He kept hitting it to try and get it off, and it just kept going bigger. And oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, there wasn't a second date.
Listen, dating in your 30s is the ghetto. The ghetto, like it's extremely ghetto. So if it's already ghetto, don't add extra stress on top of that. And men who don't know what they want, they don't show you, they don't reciprocate your energy, you don't spend time with them, you don't really talk to them. There's just no real effort. Bare minimum. You have to cut that shit off. If you're happy with that, then that's fine. But the man who wants you in his life, wants to build with you, wants to spend time with you, he may be extremely busy or extremely got other things, extremely has got other things to do, but he will make it known, look, I want you in my life, I want to build with you, I think you're special, I think you're important. He will let that be known. So if you're confused, cut that shit off. What's all the higgy-hagger about? Especially if you've already voiced it and there's still no improvement. Girl, that's gotta go. Absolutely not.
I went with this guy to Thorpe Park and...
already a bad start.
Yeah, so he must have told me before that he drives. Now comes to the date, he's giving me 10 million excuses why he can't drive us there. I meet up with him in Waterloo Station. Now he's telling me his card is blocked, etc. So we get to Thorpe Park now and I'm having to pay for everything because his card is blocked. He's choosing like the most expensive foods to get. I remember we went to KFC. He chose the most expensive thing on the menu. He made it a large. No, he made it a large. And then I got to the payment part and he said, oh, are you not going to donate to charity?
You don't give a fuck about the charity or poverty-stricken kids. You want money.
And then during the date as well, he kept just going on about, oh, like, are you happy to see me? Are you happy you finally met me? And I was just like, oh, just get off me now. Yeah.
I bet you're thinking, no, because I paid for the whole date.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a silly question, but do you ever see him again?
No. No.
Did he try to ring you up? Call you up?
No, yeah, he did. He was like, oh, like, you've been acting strange. Like, what has happened? And I said, oh, yeah, no, like...
Yeah, you should have just sent him the receipt.
I should have, yeah.
Okay, I thought this was funny. Here are things I wish I knew before I ever tried dating a man from the UK. I lived over there for a while. I read a book about dating, dated men from all over the world, hundreds of them. And although these are sweeping generalizations, I really wish I understood this about the general British archetypal male before I ever tried dating one. The first is that the second you meet him or quickly after, he will give you a pet name. It's going to be adorable and endearing. It's going to make you feel closer to him. It'll be really cute, but you're not special. In the UK, a lot of people have similar names like Mary, Martha, Harry, William. And so from an early age, people in that culture give each other nicknames to distinguish their friends from each other more than I think they do in America or anywhere else that I know of. And so you're not special. He could just be distinguishing you from the other girl he's dating who has the same exact name. The next thing to know is that they drink like fish. I feel like right when the men pop out of the womb, they're like in the pub drinking beer. Do not try to compete when he takes you on a pub crawl, touring you around London. Just stick to the 2-drink rule and don't believe anything he says when he's drunk. That should be a no-brainer, but make him tell you to your face when he is sober. When he's drunk, he turns into Shakespeare. They're not direct over there. They're almost too polite sometimes, and there's a lot of innuendos you wouldn't understand unless you're hanging around the language for a while. So you don't have a next date unless they tell you a time, a place, and they end up sitting right in front of you. Like, don't be shocked if they ghost you or they say, yeah, that was a great date, and they create elaborate plans for your next date and then bail. It's really weird, but they're just not direct. It's annoying. The whole culture has this stiff upper lip thing, which is the idea that they have a lot of boundaries. They're not people that are sharing a lot of emotion. They're not very warm. So they come off guarded on first dates unless, again, they're drunk. And so don't judge them for this or think they're this weird, mysterious, creepy James Bond character. They just take longer to open up. With that being said, you may run into the issue of a more immature British man not having the ability to express his emotions in the way that you would want him to. They have a dark, sarcastic humor over there, and having a tough skin is necessary. If you are a sensitive person, they're going to hit you below the belt. Their friends will roast you at every event, especially if you're American. No one's going to like you. You have to get used to it, or you're going to cry all the time, and it's not going to work out. I read a study that men in the UK like their partners to be in proximity to them, meaning like closer. So long distance relationships aren't really in the stars for you and them, unless you're like Harry and Meghan, who saw each other every 2 weeks. Just because they have this dreamy gentleman accent does not mean that they are gentlemen whatsoever. This is the biggest trap. British women will laugh at this, but like all American women think that British men are gentlemen because of their accent. They're not! They dress nicer than men in America, so don't be shocked. Fortunately, if you're an American woman who's like strong, sexy, and independent, a lot of them may be threatened by that because their culture hasn't fully embraced it yet. They're romantic, but they like friendships first before anything else.
So, terrible date number 1. I'm 21, he's 21. I met this guy on a night out. He seemed alright. In hindsight, he wasn't. He's asked to take me on a date. At the time, I'm living in Leeds and he's from London. For reference for people who are not in the UK, Leeds is in the north, London is in the south. So it's like the opposite ends of the country. It's like a 3.5 drive, 4-hour drive away, 2 and a bit hours on a train. So yeah, he's asked to take me on a date, and I said, like, next time I'm down to see my sister, yeah, you can take me on a date. Because my sister lived in London. So when he came to pick me up from my sister's house, he instantly came to the door and was like, oh, where's your sister? And I was like, oh, she's out, I don't know where she was. And he was like, oh, he tried to come in, bro, back up. And then he tried to kiss me. My guy, you just met me for the second time. So then I swerved the kiss. I'm like, what the fuck? Red flag number 1. We got in his car and he's like, so what do you want to do? Now, guys, men, let me tell you, the biggest ick is a guy meeting you on the day of a date and asking you what you want to do. If you want to investigate what I like to do beforehand so you can plan the date, please do. But plan it. Plan it, okay? We are grown folk. We need plans. I don't want to be getting ready to not know where I'm going or what I'm doing. So that's pissed me off. So this is like red flag number 2. And he's like, oh, well, we can go to Westfield. So I'm like, what's that? I don't have Westfield in Leeds. I don't know what that is. So he's like, oh, it's this place where there's like restaurants and stuff. And I was like, okay, could be cute. I'm thinking it's going to be like a nice kind of place where there's lots of different restaurants, lots of different bars, like that kind of vibe. So we're driving now to Westfield. Now I live in London, it's fucking wild that I ever went on a date in Westfield. And he's driven from southeast London to East London, which again, for point of reference, is like 30-40 minutes drive, right? To go to Westfield, which is a shopping centre. We've arrived at Westfield now and I'm pissed. So this is like the 3rd thing that's pissed me off, because I'm like, why the fuck did I get ready to come to a shopping centre? And I'm gonna have to do a part 2 because this is too long.
Dating when you're older is the absolute worst, and let me tell you for why. If you move back to your home city like what I did, everyone knows everyone, so most people don't even want to like date in that pool because it's so small. Even if like you get caught out seeing with someone and people don't realize you're friends, people make assumptions, are you guys dating? It's long. If you think going on dating apps is any different, let me tell you, whether you jump on Bumble, Hinge, like my male friends know as well that like if you were to go on like a woman's dating profile, there is not that many options out there. These men have so many options of these gorgeous, caring, beautiful, intelligent women. So everyone in a 30-40 mile radius is scrolling through, no. They come across that one gem. You think it's a gem, you think it's a unicorn. 40 women from your home city. If you exchange Instagrams, you'll realize there'll be 40 women from your city that will have matched with him as well, and they're talking. You will realize that there's women from your neighboring city. Even if you don't follow them, they might think that you don't know each other. Everyone knows everyone when you're in a small city, especially in the UK. Whether you see like the London girls, the Cambridge girls, whatever it is, that everyone's connected to someone, and you're like, okay, this is. And then you don't want anything like involved with. So then you like kind of want to find someone that you have like, you know, you fantasize over. Like if you met someone on holiday, they're from a completely different city, then you don't know them from anywhere. Then you don't have any background checks. Then you could, goodness knows like what they could be making up. They could have a whole hidden family, a whole hidden girlfriend. So you can't win. You can't win with the no background checks. You can't win with everyone going after like the same pool in like a 30-40 mile radius. And dating in your home city it's just too close for comfort because everyone knows who everyone has been with.
Next time you think you might fancy a British man, I want you to remind yourself that you are likely dealing with a sausage roll situation and not the neat, tidy Jewish Franks you're used to in America, if you know what I mean.
Tinder date gone wrong. So I moved to London in 2017 and I'd lived a very sheltered life before being an army kid. So when I moved to London, I let loose. Let me tell you. I was drinking, partying, dating. I was a serial dater. I probably had about 5 dates a week. Free food. Anyway, so I met this guy. We were talking for like 2 weeks. His name was Sam. So we got on really well over text and, you know, we were calling each other, FaceTiming, etc. So obviously I stalked his Instagram and designer this, designer that, like Mercedes car. I was like, jackpot. I'm only joking. Kind of. So I was out with a friend in East London and he texted me saying he was in the same place. So he asked to meet. He said he was with a group of friends, but he turned up on his own. He didn't once ask me for a drink, which was weird. Like every time I went to the bar, he sort of just stood behind me waiting for me to ask. So I paid for his drinks for most of the night. So my friend went home and it was just me and him and we sat down at a table. So I had my coat and my bag like on my chair behind me and I needed to go to the loo. So I said, will you look after my stuff? So when I come back, my bag was on the floor and it was tipped over and I just assumed that when I stood up and left, I knocked it off. So I didn't think much of it and we carried on the date. So I went home and I unpacked my bag and opened my purse and my ID and my debit cards were like the wrong way around. I always kept them in the same place. So I thought that was really weird, but once again, I kind of didn't think too much of it. I just thought I must have been drunk and put them in the wrong place. So the next day I was in work and he was texting me saying he had a lovely night, he'd love to see me again. So I was like, okay, this is going well. Normally didn't get to second date territory. And then I had a call from my bank. Hi Megan, you have a suspicious bank transaction. Did you spend £800 in Zara in Spain? No. Oh, okay, well while we're at it, did you spend £400 in this restaurant last night? No. Okay, did you spend £300 in this bar last night? No. So the conclusion was that he took my debit card and ID out of my purse, took pictures of them, and then went on a shopping spree online. And then when he texted me the next day asking for another date, I was like, sorry, I don't fancy getting robbed this date. And then he blocked me on everything. So now when I think back at his Instagram when it was full of designer stuff, I just think of all the poor girls he robbed on dates to get it. Obviously there was an investigation, but nothing came of it. But I did get my money back. What a prick.
A lot of questions asking me for advice on dating in Ireland. Well, here's my top tip. If you are one of the unlucky ones that happens to be a straight woman, meaning you will have to date a straight man, my advice is so you could just you could pray. You could pray.
If you want to know how small Ireland is, particularly Northern Ireland, I just downloaded Hinge and my second swipe across, I was like, oh, he's quite attractive. Showed my flatmate, it's her cousin. Ah!
Your problem is you're trying to find love in Gauteng. Gauteng is for business.
If you're a singleton in Northern Ireland, you will relate to this. Sorry about the white hair, by the way. But I just got out of a relationship and I was talking to a friend last night and we were like just chatting about stuff and I was like, I was bored so I downloaded Tinder. I thought, do you know what? Fuck it. So here's me, sets up my wee profile and all and I thought, here we go again, back to the fucking dark side. And I went on there and I thought, this is just going to depress the life out of me further. But you know what? I got the best laugh because I'm swiping through and I'm like, oh, there's such and such, oh, he's still here, oh, there's flipping, oh, they must have broke up, oh, there's your man. And there's like all these people that I don't actually know, but I kind of know. I have these like weird false digital connections with because I've seen these all on Tinder before. I mean, there are a few new ones, like, but anyway. Our wee pool is so small that we all know each other anyway, even though we've never met, and some of us are, you know, 80 kilometres or whatever away. Just find it really funny how the Northern Irish Tinder community is like a little community in itself. So I'm rooting for you all.
I'm going to tell you guys about the worst date that I've ever been on in my life. This was when I was at uni. Obviously, you know, freedom and things like that, living away from your parents. I actually went to uni in Birmingham. Yeah, so I met up with this guy. He picked me up in a car and he said to me he was going to take me, I think he said he was going to take me to Nando's, I'm not sure, but he proceeded to drive me to a Tesco's car park, where after about half an hour of talking, very sus conversations also, he decided to take out his wallet. I thought, oh, we're in Tesco's, he's probably going to ask me to go out and get him a drink, or he's going to go out and buy snacks or something like that. I hadn't eaten, whatever. But he actually took out his wallet, put £10 in one hand and £20 in the other. He asked me to pick a hand, and whatever hand I picked is how long I had to give him for. Yeah, I've never really got out of a car as quick as that day, really. Shocked, but not surprised at all. Yeah, so that's my worst dating experience ever. Haven't really trusted men since that day.
I dated a DJ and a lot of people were like, no, don't date a DJ. And it's like, he's making more money than me. So, but he did do this weird thing where he serenaded me, which was very stressful because, you know, if someone serenades you, it's kind of embarrassing anyway. They're like, dilly. But with a DJ, you're just standing there with his DJ table and he's like, wicka wicka woo. And you're like, woo.
Having a roster is so low vibrational.
We were short on food. We were short on tissue. We are currently short on men in this UK, in this London. So you tell me where you're able to find 5 guys that are worth your time to have them on rotation. If you want a roster, cool. But let the roster make sense, because a lot of your rosters are low vibrations because you're just chatting to any guy just so that you have options there, just so that you have a safety net, because you don't want to be hurt by the guy that you actually like, realistically. Like right now, it sounds good to have multiple guys that you can chat to whenever and you can pick who you want to chat to. But you don't even know in the long run, you're just hurting yourself because you're wasting your time with useless guys. You might cling on to one and then realize that he's useless, but he's been useless this whole time, but you just didn't deep it because you were just using him as an option. Be intentional.